Hello, welcome to the EPG Pathshala program in linguistics. We are going to discuss Module 8 of the paper entitled Introduction to Phonetics and Phonology. In this module, we propose to look at the development of cardinal vowels, what they are, how they are articulated, how actual vowels in languages can be described in relation to them. We finally take a look at the different types of cardinal vowels on the basis of their articulation as well as reception. Let us begin. Let us take a look at the cardinal vowel chart of the IPA. Try and count the number of cardinal vowels you have on the chart. As you will see, there are about 28 cardinal vowels. These, we have suggested earlier, have to be read following a certain convention. The convention is that the vowels on the left of the dots are unrounded vowels and the vowels on the right of the dot are rounded vowels. Thus, on close front point, the vowel on the left is E, the vowel on the right is U. Similarly, on the close back part of the vowel on the left is U and the vowel on the right is U. I suggest that you take a look at this vowel chart closely and you try and practice their production and reception. As you will recall, the vowel chart takes into account three parameters of distinction amongst the vowels. One, the differences in the height of the vowels, the other differences in the position of the tongue, front, center or back involved in producing the vowels, and number three, the roundness of the lips. The chart contains ideal vowels that human vocal tract system can produce and that are perceived as distinct from one another. Now, the notion of cardinal vowels was mainly proposed by Daniel Jones in 1917, although the notion had existed before him. But he explicitly showed, as can be seen in the figure 8.2 that follows, how the positions of the tongue are correlated with the cardinal vowels. Now, you have these two pictures. They are sagittal sections of the vocal tract based on X-ray photographs by Daniel Jones. The picture on the left shows the tongue taking different positions according to height, and you will notice that it is the center part of the tongue which is involved towards the front, and in the other picture on the right you see the back vowels being produced by the back of the tongue. The following point should be noted regarding the concept of cardinal vowels. The cardinal vowels first proposed were 8 in number. They were called primary cardinal vowels. They were first proposed to map the vowels in the vocal tract as shown in figure 8.3. So the vowel positions look fairly close to the positions in the vocal tract. Now, the idea was to represent the vocal tract positions of the vowels. However, in actual practice, it was found difficult to do because different phoneticians presented them in different shapes and sizes, and so an attempt was made to present them in a geometrical fashion so that there will be less variation in presenting them. The way the trapezium stands today can be seen in the configuration in figure 8.4. The number of cardinal vowels proposed first, although was 8 in number, but this number went on increasing from 8 to 12, 12 to 18, 18 to 22, and finally to 28. So the diagram that you looked at the beginning has 28 vowel points. Now this diagram tries to represent the qualitative differences amongst vowels. That is, in the production of these vowels, the tongue and the lip take different positions along with the jaw, giving us different qualities of vowels. Thus, if there are two dots and two symbols of vowels, that signifies that there are two different qualities. The vowels are of two different qualities. Quantitative difference among vowels is represented in the IPA by means of a colon, as mentioned before. There are languages which maintain a contrast between short and long vowels, for example, English. In India, we have a large group of languages, the Dravidian family of languages, which shows a consistent pattern in the difference between short and long vowels. Thus, Tamil, for example, has short vowels I, U, E, O, A, and long vowels I, U, E, O, and A. And most Dravidian languages observe this pattern. In other languages, the pattern may not be that neat. Thus, in Hindi, there are only 3 short vowels, and most of the other vowels are long. So, languages differ on account of whether the vowels can be short or long. But we need to know the way to represent length, because length can be contextually determined. Although a language may not have long vowels, but it is likely that in certain positions a long vowel. Now, how do we describe the height differences in vowels in actual languages? Remember that the cardinal vowel is an ideal vowel system. The vowels in actual languages may not be on those ideal positions. A vowel may be somewhere between 2 positions, or a little away from a position. In that case, we can describe them objectively by referring to the ideal vowel positions. For example, take a look at the vowel chart here. We have these words representing different vowels in American English. The vowels are represented in the following diagram. You will notice that most vowels are not exactly on the ideal vowel points. They are either above or below or away towards the center, and thus in order to describe them, we refer to them in relation to the ideal vowel position. For example, the top left vowel, short I, is just below close position, and so are the vowels A and the vowels A, the vowels O, etc. Some of the vowels are just above the ideal vowel positions. For example, the lowest vowels, A, the vowels A, are just above. We use the term just above in order not to describe them somewhat loosely, because when we say above this position, then all the other vowels can come into that category and class. So we use the adjective just above, just below, or between 2 vowel positions. For example, on the central line, the middle vowel falls between close mid and open mid positions. Similarly, for the backness parameter, we use the terms slightly retracted for front vowels, slightly advanced for back vowels, and if they have moved much closer to the central position, we simply use the term centralized for both. Thus, just above, just below, between for height differences, slightly retracted, slightly advanced, and centralized for backness differences. These terms are sufficient to describe the actual vowels in languages in relation to the cardinal vowel system. As Jones and Abercrombie point out, long practice in the production and perception of the cardinal vowels is required to correctly represent them on the vowel chart. In the early days, early beginning 20th century, middle, and quite until recently, students of phonetics used to practice the production and reception of cardinal vowels for a long period until their ability to produce and receive cardinal vowels had achieved a certain level of efficiency. With the feasibility of the use of acoustic information in the recent times, it's possible to find a fit between the cardinal vowels and their acoustic manifestations in terms of their formants. Here we have two cardinal vowel trapezia representing the vowels of the Dutch language. The chart on the left is based on auditory judgment, and the chart on the right is based on measured formant frequency averages. When you look at them and compare them, you find that they are fairly close to each other. Although the vowel on the left can be considered to have been subjectively proposed, although the vowel trapezium on the left can be said to be subjectively proposed and on the right to be instrumentally proposed, we find that there is a fairly good fit between the two. So that just shows that actual phonetic training in articulation and production of cardinal vowels is still relevant. Also, in teaching and learning phonetics, one of the best ways to learn to identify sounds is to be able to articulate them, to receive them. Let us now try to take a look at the different types of vowels found in world languages. To begin with, first of all, we have three types of vowels classified on the basis of whether they are of unchanging or they are of changing quality. In common parlance, we use the terms pure vowels for vowels of unchanging quality, and diphthongs or triphthongs for vowels of changing quality. Diphthongs signify that there is a change in the vowel quality from one position to another. Triphthongs signify that there is a change in vowel quality from one position to a second one and then a third one. Now, the monophthongs we have already been introduced. The IPA chart takes into account mostly the monophthongs. The assumption is that the diphthongs can be described in relation to the position, the change from one vowel quality position to another vowel quality position. There are languages like English which has a lot of diphthongs. There are languages in which there are no diphthongs. However, in representing diphthongs, the common practice is to put a little braver, as you see on this slide, a little inverted nail-like structure below a symbol. The symbol, this is the inverted braver. This indicates that the vowel above is not syllabic, it is non-syllabic. And the use of this diacritic also ensures that the diphthong is a single unit and not two vowels. This distinction is necessary. Sometimes students of phonetics are not able to distinguish between a diphthong and a sequence of two vowels. Remember that a sequence of two vowels, it makes two vowels, but a diphthong makes a single vowel. It is just that in producing that vowel, the tongue takes a slide from one position to another position. And thus the use of the inverted braver shows the difference between a diphthong and a sequence of two vowels. Sometimes it is not felt necessary to use the braver. For short, you can do without it, but if you want to be precise, then you should use the braver. There is another reason why we should be using the braver. In certain languages, and there are many of them in northeast India, known Tibeto-Burman languages, there are two types of diphthongs. In one type of diphthong, the first vowel is more prominent than the second, and thus the braver is put on the second vowel, like I, ow. And in some other vowels, in the second type of vowels, we have the second vowel being pronounced more prominently than the first one. So it's the first vowel which is non-syllabic, and the second vowel is syllabic. The braver in this case is put on the first vowel, something like wa, ya. So as you can hear that the second vowel is more prominent in these cases than the first vowel. Now you listen to the pronunciation of the two types of diphthongs in the Tibeto-Burman language, Liang Mai. Take a look at diphthongs in British English. The diphthongs are represented as arrows with a starting point and a target, showing them as vowels of changing quality. So we have vowels such as ia, ua, a, oi, ow, I. The arrow shows that the vowel moves towards the target, but it is often the case that the vowel doesn't quite reach there. So the arrow is simply to show the direction in which the tongue takes the position for a change in the second vowel quality. Now a triphthong is found in English. For example, in standard British English, a word such you have a triphthong such as aua in the word flower. However, the triphthong is not always pronounced as a triphthong in most varieties of English. There are languages in India, again Tibeto-Burman languages, where triphthongs are very common. For example, there is the language Zo, and there is another language, Koren, both spoken in Nagaland and Manipur, in which we have examples of triphthongs. As you will see on the slide, the examples of triphthongs are given there in Korean as atwoi, to wipe, and ruya, 100. When we try to find out whether these are really triphthongs or just three vowels, one way to do that is to ask the speakers to divide their words in terms of the vowels. What you will find is that if it is a triphthong or a diphthong, then the speakers do not ever divide between them. But if it is a sequence of two vowels or three vowels, then they divide between them. That's one way of ensuring that the vowels are diphthongs and triphthongs and not simply a sequence of vowels. So although a language may not have a nasal vowel and oral vowel contrast, but it is likely that if a language has a nasal consonant, then it will also have contextualized nasal vowels. For example, in English, the word on is not, there is no nasal vowel. Because it occurs before na, so o is nasalized to on. The third type of vowels that we want to consider is the type distinguished on the basis of the root of the tongue being held in an advanced position or a retracted position. In some languages, especially from Africa, some vowels are produced with the tongue root pushed up or advanced. This gives us two sets of vowels in these languages: advanced tongue root, or ATR for short, vowels, and non-ATR or retracted tongue root vowels. Retracted tongue root vowels may in some languages be pronounced with the tongue root retracted, further drawn towards the vocal cords. These retracted tongue root vowels sound like pharyngealized vowels. The African language Akan has the vowels I, E, O, U as non-ATR vowels, and the vowels I, A, O, U as ATR vowels. Arabic has retracted tongue root vowels and non-retracted tongue root vowels. The IPA diacritic used for ATR and RTR vowels are subscripts. You see a small vertical line and a horizontal line on the left of it. This means that the vowel is advanced, and the other is a vertical line, short vertical line, and a horizontal line on the right. This means that the vowel is retracted. Now we turn to the last type of vowels being considered here. These are tense versus lax vowels. In some languages such as English, the vowels are distinguished on the basis of tenseness in their pronunciations. Thus the vowels E and U are described as tense compared to the vowels I and U, which are considered lax. Tense vowels are produced with greater muscular extension than lax vowels. This distinction is language specific and applies only to those languages in which the vowels are in opposition as tense and lax. Hindi, for example, has short and long high vowels, I, U and E, U, but these vowels are not lax and tense vowels. There is no muscular tension difference in the production of these two sets of vowels. Thus, phoneticians have to identify vowels as distinct on the basis of being tense or lax, or long and short. So in this module we have seen how the notion of cardinal vowels has evolved through an entire century, from 8 cardinal vowels to 22 cardinal vowels, has shown the consideration of many factors, mostly guided by the need to account for as many vowels as possible. The consideration of including roundness of lips, for example, the consideration of vowels which are found in many languages on the central line. These considerations have led to the increase of cardinal vowels from the primary 8 vowels to 28 vowels. How the idea of the vowels being produced in the vocal tract and how to represent them objectively in terms of a vowel trapezium, making it possible for objective discussion of cardinal vowels. We have also tried to look at the various modifications that are made in describing the vowels of actual languages in relation to the cardinal vowel chart, and then we looked at the various types of vowels found in world languages. Not all of them are represented in terms of symbols. The distinction between them is also represented by using diacritics. For example, the length distinction between vowels is represented by a colon. The nasalization difference is represented by and epsilon as a superscript, and the ATR, RTR descriptions are also represented in terms of subscript diacritics. I hope that you will be able to practice the use of these diacritics to describe vowels in different languages, and you will have occasion to practice listening to these vowels and producing these vowels. Thank you.